My name is Luke from Yoda One Games, and I recently sat down with Jakub Pokorski of Efez Games. He is the CEO of the company, and we talked mostly about their hit game Case Opener. We focused on building a game economy, how to turn your game into a real business, and he had a lot of very interesting things to share about finding a niche. So, I hope you enjoy the conversation. Jakub, welcome. It's great to have you. It's very good to talk to you. I appreciate you doing this. So I'm wondering if maybe at the start I could just have you introduce yourself a little bit, talk about who you are and what you do, and then maybe also talk about the background of Efez Games, how you got into gaming, and how you started with your first game.
Hi, Luke. So I'm Jakub, and I'm the founder of Efez Games.
Well, I was saying Efez, so Efez. Okay, I'll use Efez.
Both forms are acceptable.
Okay.
So I'm the founder of Efez Games. We are a company who makes mobile games,
Mm-hmm.
and we focus on social casino and hyper casual games. And some times ago, we also started focusing on esport market. I mean, we saw a big potential in CS:GO game, Counter-Strike.
Sure.
This game has a very big community of very engaged players,
Sure.
and we make services for them to where they can stay engaged with the game and win some CS:GO skins, and they can take part in some similar activities, like they will be able to make on PC, but we offer them a mobile experience.
So I think you're referring to Case Opener, right?
Yeah, I'm referring to Case Opener
Could
exactly.
yeah, maybe you could just talk a little bit about how that game came about, or how that mobile experience came about. I mean, you mentioned the background is in Counter-Strike, but I'd be curious to learn a little bit more about the history. And was that the first thing that you guys did? And I guess the other question is, how did you end up interested in making games to begin with?
Yeah, so at the beginning, we started as a mobile games company, and our first game was hyper casual. Mm, it started as a high school project.
Okay.
So,
What was
so
the
so we
what was the what
so
was
we
what was the game itself? What was it about?
our first game was a game called Roboticable. It's puzzle game it's based on a physics.
Okay.
Uh, so we were a group of friends who started to who wants to start the um, journey in mobile games.
Sure.
So that was our first game, but it wasn't successful as we expected. But our second project was Case Opener, and we were just two team members. Case Opener was very successful project. I mean, we didn't expected that. We were two guys in the high school, and this
Oh, so
game
you did Case
launched.
Opener in high school too.
Yeah. This game has 6 years old.
Okay.
Uh, so, um, so yeah, we uploaded it to the Google Play, and after a month, we had about 1 million download. So it was a very unexpected.
What do you attribute to that sudden success? Would you say that that's, I mean, you've tapped into something that became popular. It was unexpected. Why? In the post analysis, why?
Why?
Yeah. Why do you think it took off so quickly?
Well, we found a very very big niche in the market.
Yeah.
There were a lot of Counter-Strike players who wanted to open cases on mobile. I mean, previous, it was a very popular activity to open CSGO cases, and there were a lot of YouTube recordings, and that created a very, very engaged community of social casino skins, and that's that was our target. A very big group of players who wanted to make the feel of the casino. I mean, social casino games, standard social casino games, has mostly more mature audience, but younger audience prefer activities like opening cases if it comes to activities connected to gambling, but it's not the real gambling. It's just a simulation.
Feels like it, right? Sure.
Yeah. So we discovered this niche of a very popular game, and there weren't any similar substitutes on mobile.
Got it. Okay. All right. That makes sense. This saw pretty big success early on. From that, then, did that tell you what you needed to do next? Did you get an idea from that experience to then decide what to do next, or did you completely start from scratch for your next projects?
We completely started from the scratch.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all of these activities were a bit random. I think we didn't had a very specific plan. We didn't have any investor or venture capital. All the decisions were made a bit randomly, but I think our intuition was good enough to earn a lot of player base.
So if I were to sort of pull out maybe a piece of advice from that for a relatively small studio like yourself, sometimes just being in the gamer space and using your intuition to know this thing is going to work is a perfectly good way to decide what to build, because you're a player, because you understand gamers like yourself, right?
Yeah, we are gamers, and we are also fans of Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
So we knew the community. We knew the needs of this community.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So intuition, in other words, is not something to be ignored. I think a lot of, in bigger business, a lot of the time, intuition is the first thing to be shut down. But you're kind of making a case that intuition can be a powerful thing, I think.
Yeah, small studios has this pro side, because we can experiment. Um, we can start new ideas without any big market research. We just make a project, launch it, and we test what will happen. I think that's the main the main concept of making small mobile games. You need to test a lot of different ideas, and it will catch someday.
So the advantage is that you're nimble. You can move quickly. You can try things quickly without going through 95 stages of approval, and just do something quickly and respond very quickly to things like player requests, I would imagine.
Yeah. We learned how to use data years after we launched the studios. Now we are much more data-based, but at the beginning we were intuition-based. I think
Yeah.
that's the main difference.
But there's nothing wrong with starting that way is also what you're saying, I think. So in the way of lessons, let's say you're talking to yourself when you were first starting, or you're talking to someone else who's in the exact same position. You mentioned that following your interest, finding a niche like you found with CS. Are there any other lessons that you wish you had known, or things that you would share with someone who's just getting into it now about making a successful game?
Don't make something that was invented before. I think
No
that
clones?
copying an idea is not the best way um, to come to the market in a successful way.
Sure.
There are a lot of niches, and there are a lot of audiences that can be reached. And for example, the esport community has a great potential, and I think a lot of companies focus on the same concept on hyper casuals. Well, if you have a big user acquisition budget, it can work. But when you're starting from the scratch, I think the innovative idea is the most important.
So don't create a Flappy Bird clone. The 10,000. I
Yeah.
mean, how many dozens of Flappy Bird clones are there? Probably dozens.
Thousands.
Yeah, who knows? Don't do that. Come up with an original idea, but maybe not only an original idea that stands alone by itself, but possibly that's connected to an existing player base. I mean, usually people don't associate hyper casual and esports, right? People don't say, "Oh yeah, the esports people, they're going to love hyper casual," because it's the opposite, right? So you've kind of thought about that question in a totally different way, and that I think is a really interesting way to sort of find something new in what people don't think is new, right? Hyper casual is there, esports is there, but they're two different worlds.
Yeah, I totally agree. Esport players are also mobile players because, well, almost everyone is a mobile player nowadays.
Yeah.
So I think everywhere you can find a niche if you can search it.
Find a niche, and the best way to find a niche is what? To be one of the players, to be looking for it, research, or just instinct.
Yeah, I think it's instinct, but you also need to be in this audience. I think you need to be in the audience
Makes
to
sense.
understand the needs. But data research is also important. I think that you need to check the competition, the number of downloads of the competition. We started without any data research, but it could be very useful when we want to start from scratch now.
Sure. Okay. So then you've got a couple of other games out there. Did you decide on those things in the same way? And also, what's the vision for the future for Efez Games? What do you got? What do you got in the pipeline?
Well, for now we focus on Case Opener. Last year we released a Chinese version of Case Opener. Recently we have a peak of our daily active users. So even after 6 years of the existence of our app, still generates a lot of users and a lot of organic traffic. So we tested some different games concept like idlers, clickers, hyper casuals, but for us the best way to develop things are focusing on the esport market, because as I told before, now we have very good research how it works.
So does that research help with the organic traffic, or is this something that once you launched it, it's just an evergreen thing because of its niche, and it's going to just keep going like this forever because of what it is? I guess my real question is, what makes it so organically strong?
Well, I think that our organic traffic is mostly based on some popular phrases and keywords.
Yeah.
Popular from the PC, from the desktop. I mean, like CSGO skins or case opening. These phrases are mostly desktop, but they are also generating a lot of traffic on mobile, even if you don't expect it. I mean, a lot of desktop activities also generates traffic on mobile.
So App Store optimization is key there, right?
Yeah, you need to focus on keywords to gain the player base.
Well, could we talk a little bit about a couple things, but I want to start with monetization. So how have you found a strategy for yourselves to monetize a Case Opener? And has this been something that you're constantly iterating and changing as well?
At the beginning, we had only interstitial ads without any mediations or any advanced ad systems.
Yeah.
So we lost a lot of money because we didn't use any system to optimize it. But after we learned how the market are functioning, we started adding new monetization methods like rewarded ads, mediation, later in-app purchases, A/B tests. So we were watching a lot of videos and courses about the monetization, and we also were researching other mobile games. I think researching other games are the best way to learn how the monetizations should work.
Do you have any tips for balancing things, like balancing interstitial ads and IAPs, or keeping the right balance so that you're making the most money possible without damaging the player experience?
Yeah, so I think A/B tests are the best way to optimize everything, because you can run 5 different variants of some parameter, and you can analyze which is generating the most of success. Yeah, there can be various success parameters. So yeah, we use Firebase to manage A/B tests, and that's the best way to game design everything. I think you need to iterate and you need to test every idea.
Makes sense. Yeah, you also mentioned coming to China and that being a new thing. So how's that going? I mean, what has been the experience of launching in China?
We weren't sure that it is a good idea, because China has a very different market. I mean, all the app markets are different, and you need to research a lot about localization, about preferences of a Chinese player. And there are a lot of legal obstacles. You need to. Yeah, we started the partnership with Yodo Games because they show us the way how we should manage this app in China, how we should set up ads and everything. China market has a great potential. There are a lot of players, and we didn't expect that this market is so huge, even on the App Store, because Case Opener is currently available only on the App Store, which has about 10% of the overall market share of mobile. So that's a big potential for us to launch on Android, because right now it's not available on any of the China Android markets. But yeah, there are a lot of apps in the global market, but not all of them are available in the China market. So that makes a lot of opportunities to find a niche. That's a chance for many developers.
Do you feel like you're getting closer to finding the audience in China, finding the right audience as you did before through A/B testing and so on?
Yeah, the organic traffic in China generated a lot of new users for our game.
Very cool.
Nowadays, China version of our app is as big as the global version.
So you mean the China version by itself is as big as the global version?
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, that we had a very big peak of players in the last few months, and that was pretty unexpected, because all of the traffic come from the organic.
Sure.
Uh,
Yeah. It seems
yeah,
like your game is quite evergreen. I mean, not all games are like that, but it seems like your game is very, very evergreen,
yeah,
which is great.
yeah. I think it still has a lot of potential.
So my question is, and again, this is more directed toward someone who's relatively new to making their, let's say, first game. You have your intuition, you have your creativity, but as you grow, you move toward more testing, more processes, more systems, more analysis. How do you make sure that the creative, intuitive part doesn't get squashed as you grow by the analytical business part? How do you find the balance between pure creative intuition, making the right thing, and becoming a big business, and actually making your game into a business?
Well, you need to also be a bit data based to
Sure.
grow every game, uh, and I think that if you can um, connect all these talents in your team, all the creative talent and the data talent, um, you can make a great game. I mean, you need to learn both of these skills. You can't be only creative because, well, your game maybe can be um, interesting, but for the first 5 minutes, you need to learn also analytical side uh, to make them have a great retention, great monetization, and to develop them.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. So it's sort of like keep that part, but then add to it and reinforce it with more technical skills as you learn more about the industry and turning your game into a business.
Yeah, just finding the good balance, like everywhere in life.
Sure. Yeah, makes sense. Well, I really appreciate the insights. Is there anything else you'd like to share or talk about? Maybe future games you have coming out? Uh, those are all my questions, and again, I really appreciate you doing the interview.
Well, I mentioned about our plans for the future, so um, I think that's all I can share for now. But yeah, there are a lot of big things coming soon. We want to um, make our games more social
Very
in the
cool.
near future. I think that that's the next big thing in mobile games, to make everything more social, more uh, to uh, to to share the method uh, for players to link themselves, to invite friends, to make multiplayer matches, to have fun together in a
Yeah,
group.
yeah. That sounds exciting. Well, good luck, and those watching, download Case Opener, check it out. Again, Jakub, thank you so much for doing the interview. I appreciate your insights, and I hope we can stay in touch. And again, I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Luke. It was a great time for me to share those insights, and I'm happy that
Thank
uh, I can I can take part in this interview.